When did you know or think that I would become a lawyer? This is gonna go sideways on me, but yeah.
Oh my God. Well, John was what, 4 years old? Mm-hmm. Put him on the ice on a day that he could practice the first time with chairs.
Oh, I did have a chair.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Everybody had chairs. And you were walking around on the ice, cruising around, checking things out, and then one day you came over to the ice, to the glass, and you said, "Daddy, I want to go home." And you said, "We have to wait for the hour to be up before you go home." And then you kept skating around, and by the end of the day, you didn't want to come home. You wanted to stay on the ice.
Were you there?
I don't think I was there
No.
for the first one. No, I was there for many other.
No, of course, yeah. You guys are saints for all the time playing hockey. I have a certain recollection of like how I became a goalie. My recollection is essentially, they would have that bag of equipment. It would be passed around. Everyone would take turns. And then at some point, people would just start looking back at the one kid who would just keep playing because no one else wanted to play. How do you remember, and I actually remember you taking me to get the first set of goalie equipment. How does it play out in your guys' minds, how that happened?
I remember vividly because I remember you were on a house team at the time. Yeah. And Dad and I had something to go with Dana or something. We had something to go. So another hockey family said they would pick you up and bring you to the game. And we said we would be a little late, right? So we get there, and I'm frantically looking around for you on the ice, and I don't see you. And then it dawned on me, I looked in the net, because you used to bug us all the time. I want to be a goalie, young on. And Dad and I would say, no, you have to learn how to skate first. You need to learn the game first before. Well, you must have volunteered, or maybe it was your turn, and all of a sudden I looked in the net, and there you were. And you played like crazy. It was nuts. And then they wanted you to play every game after that. So that's my recollection. Remember when we walked in, it was like, where is he? Because we expected you to be skating, as a defense or forward or something, and there you are in the net.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when you were the first goaltending glove you got, because the old one that they gave you to try was like an old catcher's mitt, and you said, "Dad, I can't catch the puck. I can just knock it down. It won't close." So I went out and we got him got you a small little catching glove for goaltending, and then we split the ice with another group, and you were on one end of the ice, and you were in net, and I was in the penalty box watching, and we had some older college students there shooting pucks on you, and all of a sudden, all the parents were on the one end, and we're watching. They had a little catch-up game, and all of a sudden, the coach ripped the shot from the blue line. And ripped it, and all of a sudden you see your hand go up like this and catch it, and went like this, and everybody went, "Ooh, he's got a fast hand," and that was it. Yeah. You're a goaltender after that.
Yeah. It's funny because we were talking about it earlier. There, you learn a lot playing hockey growing up, and then you can apply it in your professional life, especially being a goalie, I think. But I am curious, how was it from your perspective having to watch all the games, especially as it got more and more and more competitive? Must have been nerve-wracking.
Nerve-wracking, but I always went on the other side of the ice.
I was telling them that.
I always went on the other. I don't want to hear the other
Never
parents
sat
talk
with
about
parents.
you're good, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear nothing. I just went on the other side.
Yeah.
Well, you can become very protective as a parent because people always have something negative to say. Yeah. So you have to kind of block that out, right? Yeah. Because there's 5 other guys on the ice, and they let that puck get to you. So that's how I always looked at it, and I go, yeah, he's doing his job, but he shouldn't have 40 shots on him in a game either, So, and that would happen from time to time, and, it was always good, I remember, when you playing for Syracuse, remember? Yeah. And you played Rochester? Yeah. I have a copy of that game, and that's the game that you, were nuts. You stopped everything. And then the following year, you were on the Rochester team.
Yeah. That's crazy. Do you, when you think back on it, what do you think are the biggest lessons that I learned from hockey growing up, kind of leading up through high school? I mean, because I think I know what they are, but what do you think they are?
Well, I look at it like commitment,
Yeah.
teamwork, right? Compromise,
Yeah.
a culture of, success. Like you have to all do it together. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I think a lot of sports, your sister learned that through dance and you learned it through hockey.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's super important. It's like you can't really, especially like if you play at higher levels, but just regardless, like learning like the importance of a team and how to get along with people and how powerful like the group is together when you're all playing together and playing for each other. It's pretty cool. I think it's something that is not as prevalent, unfortunately, in like workplace culture. And I understand that it can be really hard to get that exact level because, it's amazing that people want to work for you. They believe in the mission and the vision. They share your values. But, I also understand that people, it's not like with a sport where it's like, this is like your passion, I think we're very fortunate to have people who love what they do and love helping people, but they of course have like dreams that they want to pursue outside of work. But, trying to match it as closely as you can is pretty cool. So another question they're asking me is, and I know what you're going to say, I don't even want to ask it, but when did you know, when did you know or think that I would become a lawyer? This is going to go sideways on me, but yeah.
Oh my God. When you were little enough to talk and start to figure things out yourself, you had to be real careful what you talked about and what you asked you, because you would break it down. And you would break it all down.
Sounds brutal. I'm sorry. It sounds terrible.
Yeah, that's the way it was. It was great.
You would try to wear us down.
Yep.
And you try to play one against the other until we're like.
Terrible.
No, you were fun. You were fun, but
Yeah.
it was you. I mean, you kept us on our toes. That's for sure.
That's right.
You made sure we started consulting with each other before we said yes or no.
Yeah.
Because you would give us a list of reasons why you should be able to do what we said no to.
I was just preparing.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think, obviously, people always joke about arguing and all that kind of stuff, but I think it's really more about being like really, really intensely curious. Like always wanting to know the why behind something or the answers or finding different angles to approach something. I'm glad that you guys let me do that, because if you would have just like shut me down, then maybe I wouldn't have.
Well, I wouldn't have never shut you down, because that's, with my background, right? I want to hear what you're thinking and why. I want to, you constantly asked why.
Yeah.
You always wanted to know.
Yeah, it's just being curious.
That's a good.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very good at.
I think is funny, actually? Someone was asking me about this the other day, because like to your point, so you're an entrepreneur, and like forever people would say like, an entrepreneur because like when they're young, they had a paper route, or they, had lemonade stands or whatever. They're finding ways to make money. Like I didn't really have any of that. I didn't do any of that. I think because I was so invested in hockey and that took up so much time. But now, since, we launched the firm and everything now that's going on with that, like I'm just obsessed with it. And it definitely is the passion, right? And it's pretty cool to be able to like build the business off of helping people and like all the stuff I learned as a trial lawyer, and then having a group of people who, are bought into that, and then trying to like create the business in a way that, it should be created this day and age, because a lot of law firms sadly aren't like that. It's just kind of like this like dull, old culture, where no one's rewarded for doing well, no one's incentivized, like people just kind of like punch in and punch out. So I think I must have gotten that from you. No offense, but I must have gotten that from you.
Well, you got it from two hardworking parents, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like-
I gave you guys credit earlier. I
Yeah.
talked a lot about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you were running around like crazy. You're super mom.
Right.
Yeah, you're like right.
And John, right.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Well, I started out as a speech pathologist, and then I went into educational administration. So then I was a coordinator for special education, and then a director, and then a chief of special ed for the Rochester City School District. That's where I ended. Well, I'm still working there a little bit. So it's, they just need, it's my passion. It's all special education, so it's what I like to do and help people.
Yep.
So it's like we're kind of all in the helping profession in a way, right?
So I'll say this: I fell into personal injury law when I was in law school. My law school kind of really only tried to get kids to go into big law, like go into huge corporate firms, because just being honest, I mean, it makes them look better. It increases their rankings when they go to these prestigious law firms. And I fell backwards into working at a really big mass torts personal injury firm in New York City. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because to be honest, like when I was in law school, I never even thought about working at an injury firm, and I wanted to help people. I just didn't know exactly how. I'm very thankful that I ended up in that position, because that, like, everything kind of flowed from there. Like, I ended up getting recruited to a firm in Buffalo. The only reason I even came is because I sat down with you two, and I remember talking to Dad on the phone, and he was like, well, if you want to start your own firm at some point, why don't you come up here first, get the lay of the land, figure out what's going on, and then if you still want to do it, this could be a good place to do it up in Western New York. And I did it because, again, we want to bring a new standard of personal injury law to Western New York. I see what some other firm owners around the country are doing that I really admire, and I think, with our own spin on things, we can do that here in Western New York and show people that, we're here to help people. Like, going back to what you do, going above and beyond to help students, like you do it all the time. You're doing things that I know you don't need to be doing, but it's really admirable. Or even just seeing how you ran your business, Dad. Like, you're so honest and going into people's houses and saying, hey, just give me a $20 bill to start the job. Like, where most people are like, give me $10,000 or I'm not setting a scaffold up. Like, being honorable and being honest and just being good to people. Once in a while, I think you get burned, but you can't let it deter you. You just got to keep moving forward. And ultimately, I think you do it enough. And you have, especially in my situation, you have a team behind you doing it all the time. You just want to keep spreading the word. And because at the end of the day, like, we don't want anyone to get hurt, but if they do, we want them to call us, because we feel very confident we can offer the highest level of support for them. So, but I think I definitely learned from both of you.
You can sense that, though, in your office when you walk in. You can tell people are happy to work there.
Right.
That's one of the things I'm proudest about. Like, people say it all the time. People come in and they're like, man, it just like feels different in here. You have a good vibe in here, like a good culture. I'm like, look, that's why we did all this. I mean, I'll be honest, like when we first started hiring people, obviously we needed certain like really experienced lawyers or paralegals, but we weren't sacrificing our values. And we got lucky to find a couple of those people early on who actually put their trust in us when we were working out of a basement. But then with our case managers, who are just so critical to our firm, I mean, everybody's equally important, and our case managers are really important. And we said, you know what, we're going to focus on the person, someone who shares our values, shares in our mission and our vision. And that's why we have such a wild, or kind of a crazy hiring funnel. Like, they have to pass assessments, and we test their personalities. Why? Because it's to deliver the type of service that we want, you have to be a certain type of person. And it was a little tough at first, because we had to train these people from the ground up, because most of them had never worked in an injury law firm before. And we're like, we think you're going to love it here, because you share our passion and you're similar to us. And now we have an amazing group of people who really do care. And now you're seeing them go to the next level, where they bring us great ideas. We have such clear communication. The feedback is there. People are being promoted, being trained from within. It's pretty awesome, because you get to, we tell people all the time, like, look, we understand it wasn't your vision to start a personal injury firm that changes the way people think about personal injury lawyers, but we're humbled that you bought into our mission. So our promise to our team members is, if you help us, pursue our dreams and reach our goals, like, we'll do the same for you. And that's why, we do things like when they work with us, they have celebration surveys, so we know all their favorite things. And we use a program called Bonusly, so they can bonus each other based on living our core values. And we do these big drawings like each quarter. And it's pretty cool seeing people rally around each other. So we're proud of that. I'm glad that people can feel it, because like, that's, I think, probably the one thing we're most proud of.
I think your sister sees it too, and she consult with you, and she's using some of those same things to build the culture of her team.
Yeah, right. It's like I think right, like we all learn from other people. That's a great thing about the day and age we're in now. There's no excuse. Like if you actually want to build a culture like that or build a business in a certain way, you can just get the information. And then I think it's important to pass it along. Whether it's like taking the time to speak to law students or young lawyers or other business owners or whoever. Like if they actually are interested in hearing about kind of your journey and all your successes and what you've learned from all your failures, I think it's important to pass it along and try to like help people along the way, because that's what's happened to us.
Right.
So Keith has been a great business partner. I mean, we're very different people, but that works well for us. I approached him at our last firm and I said, hey, I want to tell you something in confidence. I have this idea, and we were pretty close, and I figured, well, what's the worst thing? If he doesn't want to do it, I don't think he'll tell anybody. So I approached him. We sat down. We kind of walked ourselves through what it would look like, why we wanted to do this. And, look, admittedly, like we had this kind of like, it was like kind of a blurry vision, which has now become a lot clearer as we've grown the firm. But, despite how different we are personality-wise, we have grown into our own individual roles, and they work really well for us. And, he's the type of guy that, really supports me and my ideas or vision for the firm, and anything he can do, he's like just looking for ways to support us or support the team. He handles a lot of really high-end cases for us. He does great work, like amazing work on representing our clients who have mesothelioma or lung cancer from being exposed to asbestos. Works on really complicated product liability cases. And he's like, honestly, like I say this, he's a former Marine and a police officer, but he's someone who has your back. Like he's willing to be in the trenches to go to war with you. And thank God, he's like that, and we have this relationship because, everyone from the outside always just sees like, okay, this firm or that business is skyrocketing or growing. Like I don't think people, it's not their fault, but I don't think they understand how hard it is, how much pressure there is, how many like high and just crazy risks you're taking. Now look, we take calculated risks because we care a lot about the people who put their trust in us, but like you don't grow, you don't gain success without taking risks. And you need to make sure you have somebody who's got your back and who's in there with you, because sometimes that's the only person who truly understands what you're going through, because they're in it with you. Like they feel it. So